Today's topic is financial freedom in 2023. All right, guys.
What the first one?
So we got 5 points to cover today regarding
one.
Wrong one. Yeah, you're right.
Round one.
Financial freedom.
Fight.
So most of you nowadays want to make money, be successful, and have a leg in this race because there's a race going on right now between the rich and the poor. But ultimately, in this race, you can make good choices or bad choices. So we made 5 topics today to cover to kind of tell you guys what to do in this sense. All right, so number 5, counting down from 5 is avoid major financial mistakes. So guys, for the most part, if you're out here in the world, you're gonna make mistakes. Of course, in dating, buying stuff, advertisers entice you with obviously ads online, and you buy things you don't really need for the most part. However, if you can avoid major mistakes, for example, getting into major debt or having a kid too early, or even avoid DUIs and other things like that, you can kind of set yourself on a good path. And for the most part, people nowadays, they just do whatever they feel like. It's a good feeling. Oh, your friends are going here, there, this party. And you don't think about the future. But we're saying today, you know what? Think about this, the actual financial future for yourself, which means, okay, cool. Start from A to Z. Where do you want to end up in 10, 15, 5 years even? How do you get to that path? So I would say number one thing to avoid is having kids too early. Now, obviously, some of you may already have kids, which is fine. But bro, having a kid too early on, one, costs a lot of money. The average amount for a kid up to I think 18 years old is $250K minimum. And that does not include school. So imagine your whole setup is take care of this kid with time and money, and that goes towards all your effort into that. Versus putting it into yourself, becoming a better man, investing in assets, or even putting education into yourself with courses or learning from a mentor. That whole process itself, having a kid, bro, could deter you from a long path of success. And I'm not saying is it possible, but why dampen yourself with a kid, bro? Look, I have a dog, bro, and I tell you this right now, bro, heroes stress. So I can't imagine having a kid. Number 2 is buying things you don't need. So a lot of us, especially men, want to buy things to impress women. And I get it. You want to buy a nice car, nice crib, and it's fun. It's exciting. But if you're not going to be financially stable to actually maintain these things, you're going to end up hurting yourself because it's called opportunity cost. When you spend money on assets, for example, that are not going to pay you or actually give you any benefit or ROI, you buy a house or you buy a car, you're actually losing money because the money you spend on that actual, expense every month or every day could go towards your future, or for example, investing in an asset. So
number 1, taking hard money loans. What's a hard money loan? A hard money loan is basically a loan, guys, that's predatory in nature. You're basically hard up for money. You need money quickly without a credit check. You take one of these hard money loans, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be from one of them boys. They're going to give you a 20 to 30% interest rate, and they're going to you're going to get a loan that you're probably never going to be able to pay off because you never had the financial security in the first place to take the loan, which is why you took the loan. Next thing you know, you take the loan and you're a slave for life. Co-signing a property or a car for someone else. Okay, that's a big mistake that a lot of you guys do. You'll go ahead and sign for an apartment or a vehicle, and you can't get out the lease because now you're the one that co-signed it, so you're typically looked at as responsible. So let's say you co-sign on a car for somebody, right? And it's their duty to pay for the vehicle, but let's say they miss a few months. Well, guess whose credit score is going to take a tanking? Ooh. Your credit score is going to take a tanking. Theirs will too, but they clearly don't give a shit, but your credit score is going to go down. So never, ever, ever co-sign for a vehicle or a home or an apartment for somebody that you don't know unless you're prepared to pay for all of it, okay? Unless you're going to pay for all of it, don't sign for it, all right? Next, getting DUIs or getting in trouble with the law, that will mess you up. Guys, you had mentioned a DUI before. I thought that was really good and something that's kind of understated. Mm-hmm. Guys, a DUI is going to cost you in the United States most of the time approximately $10,000 to deal with. You understand? And not only that, you're going to lose your driver's license. You're not going to be able to drive. Yep. You're not going to be able to go ahead and put yourself in a position to earn money from a job. So it has a compounding problem that's going to continue. That's going to continue the downward trajectory for you. Okay, it's a compound L because you lost the DUI, you get the DUI, you lose your car, you lose your money, you lose your ability to travel, you lose your ability to travel to a place of work to earn money. So it's going to mess you up to a whole other degree. And then on top of that, your family members are going to be responsible for getting you everywhere, and or Uber, or you spending money on taxis, whatever it is. So it's going to be a huge L if you get a DUI and or find yourself in some kind of legal trouble where you're facing a criminal charge. That can completely mess you up. And we didn't even talk about attorney fees. That's a whole other situation. Sometimes just retaining a lawyer, guys, is going to cost you thousands of dollars before they even litigate anything. Next, kids. Guys, I mean, if you have a kid now, I know it's probably the gift that keeps on giving, and a lot of you guys wouldn't take it back. But for all you guys out there that haven't had a kid yet, bro, kids are absolutely going to destroy your ability to create wealth if you have children before you're financially set. You need to become financially set before you have children. I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're 5 to 1.
Fight.
Investing in assets that create cash flow. So now, if you spent the time to not make these mistakes, you should have some money in your savings to spend. However, when you spend money, it has to make sense. Is it worth the investment? Is there ROI involved with this? Is it going to give me a benefit? Most of you spend money for how you feel, for joy, for example, just to have fun, which I understand, but that should not be all of your spending in this case. So, what should you invest in to make cash flow? We cover it on the show all the time. Number one, I'm going to say is real estate.
Yeah.
Guys, when I first came to America, I said it before, I met a guy in a Lamborghini. He pulled up with this chick, blonde chick, I'll never forget. I think it was a Huracan actually. And I was like, damn, I never saw a Lamborghini in my life before, but this is dope. Who is this guy? And then I speak to him, you know, obviously this is in person. I say, hey bro, what do you do for a living? He says, I do real estate.
When it comes to creating cash flow, etc., real estate is the best asset class. And there's 4 main reasons why it's the best asset class. Number one, you can use debt to acquire it. Okay, what do I mean by using debt to acquire it? Well, you can go ahead and buy a home while only putting down a fraction of the home's cost. What do I mean by this? If I want to buy a home, right, and I want to live in it for a year, I could put up to 3.5% to 5% down of my own money to purchase the home. So in other words, let's say the house is $100,000, easy math here, right? All the homes are way more expensive than that. But for easy math, you're putting down $3.500 to $5,000 plus closing costs. So all in, guys, you're paying less than $10,000 to acquire an asset that's worth $100,000. Why is this important? Well, the reason why it's important, guys, is because you put a small fraction down and then the bank gives you the rest of the money to purchase the home. Let me tell you how important this is, okay? You can go to Bank of America and tell them, hey, Bank of America, I want $100,000 to invest in your stock. You know what Bank of America is going to tell you?
Nope.
They won't even give you a loan to buy stock in their own bank. However, if you go there and say, hey, Bank of America, I want to buy a real estate property. I'm coming up with 5%. Can you guys give me the other 95%? They're going to say, sure. If that doesn't show you guys the power of real estate, then I don't know what is. Banks won't even give you money to buy stock in their own goddamn bank, but they will give you money to buy real estate. That is the biggest telltale sign that real estate is the king of asset classes, because banks will lend you money on it. And let me tell you something about banks. They don't lose. We know who owns the banks, okay? They don't lose, all right? They know who they're lending money to. They know how money really works. And they understand that real estate is the best asset class. It's always going to hold its value. It's going to make value. And you can always hold on to it, sell it, whatever it may be. If push comes to shove, you don't pay your bills, they can kick you the fuck out of there, foreclose in the house, sell that thing on the market, and make a profit. That's why they will lend you money on real estate. Now that you own the property, 2 magical things happen, guys. Number one, appreciation. What is appreciation? Appreciation is the house going up in value over time. You make money. Fresh was talking about cash flow significantly. So if you live in the home or if you put tenants in it, the house should make you some kind of cash flow. Okay, you should, and that means after all bills are paid, you're making money after the fact. Very important, guys. And then the last thing here is tax benefits, which no one talks about. Okay, guys, the tax benefits are enormous, and there's 2 main tax benefits from real estate. There's one called depreciation, which you're able to depreciate the house over a 27.5-year period, and you're able to and then cost segregation. So I talked about real estate being number one. The next asset classes, guys, that you can invest in as well, that I think that you should be invested in, are obviously the stock market. You know, whether it's individual stocks, the whole of the game. I'm talking more along like index funds. Okay, cryptocurrency, precious metals, and then if you want, you know, a high interest savings account, which, as you guys know, I talked to y'all about my Merrill Lynch stuff that I got going on with a preferred deposit. You obviously need it's a threshold, you need 100K or whatever to invest, but yo, you're getting a 4.76% interest rate right now, and the Fed is going to continue to raise interest rates. So I want y'all to be, guys, in a position where no matter what happens with the market, you're able to profit. So yeah, now we're at number 3. Okay, so we're midway through here, guys. Okay, so
remember, guys, these are 5 points to become financially free. Number 3 is going to be become debt free. So for the most part, guys, a lot of us, like I said earlier, we spend money in dumb ways to get fun, benefits, impress girls, yada yada. We get it.
And when we say debt, because I know what they're going to say, you guys are talking about real estate debt.
No, personal debt, guys, not business.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good for that.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, like not consumer debt.
Personal debt.
Yeah.
Which means personal loans, personal credit cards, you know, shopping cards like Macy's, things like that.
Consumer debt.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now we're on number 2.
Number 2. All right. Number 2. Number 2 is going to be investing in yourself. All right, guys. So for the most part, once again, financial freedom. What does that mean? It means you are on a path to be financially free, which means money's coming in. You can do what you want with your money and life, your lifestyle. But if you are not actually free yourself, then you can't enjoy this path, because you being free means you actually have the benefit of having the skill or having the know-how to make money to get that lifestyle. So guys, this is an example of 2 people here in America or worldwide, it doesn't really matter. But in this case, these people have 2 different outcomes, right? So we have Tom and John. Tom makes $200K a year, right? John makes $500K a year. Tom spends $150K a year, saves $50K, has 0 debt, but with this outcome from his actions, and if you follow all steps that we said today, he has opportunity with freedom, which means Tom's making $200K a year, but he saves $50K, and he can spend that money on opportunity, investing in himself, or assets over a long period of time. John, on the other hand, makes $500K a year, spends $350K a year, saves $20K a year, has debt $200K, so he has negative freedom, aka debt slave. So John makes a lot of money in this example here, but his expenditure for debt is huge and his spending is huge, which means his savings are very little. So when it comes to like opportunity, he has not much he can do because his money is spent in debt and also as well in fun and other things as well. So guys, this is showing you there's 2 paths you can do, and Tom is pretty much like on Myron's path of financial freedom, because he's actually focusing on savings and putting money into like assets that he can make money off of, versus John is about lifestyle, you know, kind of how I was, and putting money into debt. And once again, guys, you have to plan from the very beginning, because if you don't plan from the very beginning, you're gonna have I want to say choices where you can either have fun or sacrifice for the future. And if you're not aware of what you're doing, you're gonna go with the wind and make mistakes. But if you have a plan for your life from the very beginning, you can be like Tom here, and even though he makes less money, he saves more. And it's not what you have, but it's not what you spend, but it's whatever you keep for the most part. So there you go.
Yeah.